Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the weekly daily SEL leader video that we post every week. Good morning, Randy. How are you doing today?
I am well. Good morning, James. Great to see you.
Good to see you. So we started last week giving a little bit of sort of background on this idea of self-perception, which we think is a really critical skill for leaders. And today we're going to just do one of our prompts from the book and just kind of discuss that. So the prompt is actually on page 25. It's the day 3 prompt about developing accurate self-perception, and it reads, self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without any attachments to it being right or wrong, good or bad. And that's by Debbie Ford. Reflections on that, thoughts?
Yeah. You know, you and I have, I think we come back to this particular quote quite a lot when we're reviewing the developing accurate self-perception section. I think with good reason. I mean, the first thing for me as a husband is I feel like if you can't do this, your relationship is going to be a whole heck of a lot more challenging. And I know that I have been learning and practicing for many years to try to accept my partner's perception and to weave that into my own self-awareness. And it's really freeing, I think, to be able to not feel as though, especially if you are a stressed out school leader, to develop the capacity to not feel like you must react to something that feels like a threat or a challenge to your idea of how things ought to be, right? You can still end up with that same response, but just taking a moment to pause and hold it out in front of you and just breathe deeply and think about, how do I really want to show up right now? And can I just take a moment to consider whether or not my knee-jerk gut response is really the one that I want to go with? And sometimes it will be, right? Yeah. And sometimes it won't be. But I feel like that's the idea of that's part of the idea behind this quote of, it's really not about whether you get it right or wrong. It's about how you show up in the moment to try to process it in alignment with who you want to be and who those whom you're serving need you to be.
Yeah, I think those are really good examples. I think that the whole thing in this quote about the attachment, I think is a big issue for leaders, is that the question that I think we always need to ask is, what am I attached to? Is it my own ego that I have to be right in the moment, or is it the attachment to serving others, to coming up with the best solution, to coming up with, you know, the right answer to something? And it's usually, you know, much better when those can come collectively from others. So I think once, you know, as a leader, you sort of cross that threshold of not being attached to always being right or always being in charge or always being in control, it really is a freeing responsibility. Now, again, that doesn't assume that there aren't sort of lines that you know you have to cross or don't want to cross. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to moral or legal or, you know, those sort of issues. But, you know, in the general run-of-the-mill decision that a school leader has to make, that idea of attachment and releasing your ego to listen to others, to hear others, what their needs are, I think is again, it's a really freeing experience. And once you hit a certain ability, you know, we always talk about that eye on the swivel, is, you know, to be able to switch that in and out all the time, to say, you know, what do they need? What do I think about that? What do they need? And just keep swiveling that, I think, becomes a real strategic way that you can actually lead. And, you know, again, I think you build better trust and commitment from people by doing that.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I think that probably covers it for today. You know, we're here trying to model just how quickly school leaders who are under an incredible amount of pressure can fit in these kinds of reflections about their own SEL skills. And so if folks are enjoying the content, please go ahead and like the videos. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. As James said just a moment ago, we try on a weekly basis on Mondays to put out new content for you, and it's all meant to be fast but accessible and impactful. And we'd love to hear how you're finding the work that we're sharing with you.
Yeah, our whole work is to make it simple, quick, and actionable for you, so that you can actually begin to thrive in your job. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
So long.